Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this evening. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. So on the show this evening, we're going to be talking about the future of our right winger, Antony. Multiple stories in the press today saying that a surprise move to the Brazilian league is looking like an option. We'll talk about that, of course. We'll also talk about Ratcliffe apparently backing Ten Hag to succeed at Manchester United. Some other bits as well to get into, lots and lots to discuss on this evening's show. As always, do get involved in the comment section, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on this evening's show. So let's start off by saying this. I don't know if anybody just watched the Liverpool game. Luton so nearly got that win, didn't they? To Heath Chong, ex-Manchester United player, scoring the goal for Luton, and Luis Diaz equalising in literally the last minute or so of the game. Nearly losing away to Luton. That would have been an absolute mad result, wouldn't it? So, in the sense of our season, though, because this is a Manchester United channel, the Premier League table doesn't look too bad after this weekend's results. It really doesn't. We're in a much better position, obviously, than when we were at the beginning. We're on 18 points. Same points as Brighton. You know, all of those who thought De Zerbi should come to Manchester United, well, they're on the same points as us. This great Brighton side that are unbelievable. They're on 18 points and so are we. Newcastle on 20. Aston Villa obviously lost as well today, so that worked in our favour massively. They're on 22. And Arsenal are in 4th on 24. So we're 6 points off top 4 at the moment. It seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, 6 points isn't that much. You know, if we win the next game against Luton and Arsenal or Liverpool draw or don't win, you know, then it goes down to what would it go down to then? 4 points. You know, it can quite quickly go down. So we've got to look at it positively. Quite a few results went our way this weekend, which is really good. But Liverpool were very lucky. They did not deserve to win that game. Obviously, Luton did well. They played a really good match. And you know what? To Heath Chong, fair play to him. Obviously, ex-Man United player, gone to Luton and has just scored his first Premier League goal. Right, let's talk a little bit about this story about Antony then, because it did catch me by surprise this morning, to be honest. And there's 2 or 3 different journalists reporting this story. And it says that Manchester United are trying to sign Flamengo striker Gabriel Barbosa in January and are willing to offer Antony in part exchange on loan. Barbosa is available for £20 million in January and Flamengo are interested in taking Antony on loan. You know what? I think this would be 100% the right decision if we could do this. I don't think Antony has been good at Manchester United, but obviously we can't get rid of him at this point. We need to try and make it work. And maybe, you know, a loan move to the Brazilian league for a season or half a season, I think that could actually be good for him. He's had so much stuff going on off the pitch with all of these domestic abuse allegations and all the rest of it. Maybe it'll be good for him to just go and focus on his football back in Brazil, obviously where he's from. And I would welcome that. I would. In relation to Gabriel Barbosa, obviously he's played all over Europe. He's played at Benfica. He's played at Inter Milan. Obviously now he's back at Flamengo. He's a good player. He is. Let's have a little look at his stats together quickly. Let's have a look at his stats for this season. So this season so far, let's have a look. 2022-23. So that was this season. He scored 25 goals in 55 matches. So he's averaging about a goal every other game, which is okay. I don't know whether that's good enough for Manchester United, really, especially as he is playing in the Brazilian league. But over the years, he has been a very good player. More in the Brazilian league. He obviously played at Inter Milan. He only scored 1 goal for Inter Milan. He played for Benfica for a bit, only scored 1 goal. But he has scored 139 goals in 246 games for Flamengo. So his goal scoring record in the Brazilian league has been good. Whether or not he could do it in the Premier League, I'm not entirely sure. I think there's quite a few other players out there that would be better. Maybe Jimenez from Feyenoord. I think he would be an interesting option. Obviously, Marcus Leonardo, another player from the Brazilian league who is much younger, who we were linked to in the summer. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I wouldn't say he should be the number 1 target. I would say that if there's other options available, we should go and look at them. But I would welcome this. I'd welcome the loan side of it. I think, you know, Antony going away for 6 months could be really good, to be honest. Just to kind of clear his head, just to give him some focus away from Manchester United. And you know what? To give Pellistri some game time. Amad Diallo will be back soon as well. So for that right wing position, we'll have Amad, we'll have Pellistri, Mason Mount can obviously play there, and we'll have Antony. We'll have 4 people all fighting for the same position, which I think is a little bit excessive. So either Pellistri goes out on loan, which I think would be the wrong decision. I think Pellistri looks like one of our best players in that position, or Antony goes out on loan. I think Ahmad, again, we need to give him an opportunity, give him a chance. And I think Mason Mount, I don't see where else he's going to play. He doesn't work in the number 6 role. He doesn't work, in a more defensive midfield option. And he's never going to bench Bruno Fernandes. So the only place I can see Mason Mount playing is in that right wing position. If Ten Hag's going to pick Antony for every single match, every single time, even though he's performing terribly, what does it mean for Mason Mount? What does it mean for Ahmad? What does it mean for Pellistri? They're just going to sit on the bench, frustrated, thinking, why am I not getting picked? So I think that this could be an interesting one. Like, we're not going to be able to get rid of Antony now. We spent 100 million euros on him. We're stuck with him. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one. Would you be happy to see Antony go out on loan, even if it was just for one season? Daniel says we should be playing Mason Mount on the right. I would welcome that. I would. I think it would be interesting. Alan says Garnacho and Pellistri need more game time. I would agree with that. I think they definitely do. I would get both of them playing. I really, really would. Alan says 100 million Antony is not a Premier League player. I would agree. Daniel says Pellistri or Mount on the right wing would be the best option. I would agree with that as well. I think both of them would be better than Antony. Pellistri or Mount would be much better. And even when Amad Diallo comes back, I think he would be a really, really good option. Guala says Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord will not join Bayern in January. He's a striker anyway, not a winger. But we're talking about Gabriel Barbosa here, who is a striker. The story is that Manchester United would be open to loaning Antony to Flamengo for 6 months and then signing Flamengo centre forward Gabriel Barbosa, because apparently Manchester United want to sign a second centre forward in the January window to help bolster the attack and hopefully to give Rasmus Højlund a bit more help, because him on his own, it's not really working, is it? Not because I don't think he's good, just because he doesn't give any opportunities, does it? Jude says Luton Town is Antony's level. I mean, would he even get into the Luton team? I mean, Tahith Chong, maybe not. Daz says Ten Hag's judgment takes an L on Antony. I would agree with that. Mumra says we should loan up Mount, sell Sancho. Antony can be useful from the bench. Pellistri and Ahmad above the others now. I would agree with the Pellistri and Ahmad should be above the others, but you're not going to loan up Mason Mount. He's only been here for 2 months. And Antony can be useful from the bench. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's worth giving it a try, isn't it? Let's have a look. Alan says, in the history of Manchester United, we've never seen a number 7 be benched all the time. Yeah, that's fair enough, yeah. I don't get it. You sign Mason Mount for £60 million, blow half of our summer budget on a player we didn't even need, and then you give him the most iconic shirt of Manchester United's history, the number 7, and then he just sits on the bench. I mean, what's going on there? It's very, very confusing, and I don't really understand it. But on a more positive level, Amad Diallo is back on the grass. He is now fit, so hopefully we get to see a bit of Amad, because I think there's a real player there. I do. I think Ahmad, there's a real player. I think Pellistri, there's a real player. And I really want to start seeing some of these people be given opportunities, because we see Antony play so much and he's always terrible. If anybody didn't see, in the game against in the game on Saturday afternoon, all of the Manchester United fans, the away fans, were booing Antony when he came off the pitch because he was so bad. And you know what? The United fans do not boo their own players. They booed him because his attitude stinks and he was awful. He was terrible. He doesn't have the right attitude, and I think that, yeah, he's pissed off, let's be honest, the Manchester United fans he has. And I think all of us in the chat would agree with that this evening, that I don't like players being booed, but if they're being disrespectful on the pitch, if they're throwing their hands up every 5 seconds and they're playing awful, I just don't think there's a place for them at Manchester United. We need people to work as a team. Everybody needs to understand their role, and I just don't think he does, to be honest. And I think that Ten Hag is a little bit to blame about constantly picking him. Luma says, Kieran, did you see the open goal Nunes missed today against Luton? Yeah, I mean, that was embarrassing, wasn't it? The thing is, right, rival fans will say, oh, Rasmus Højlund's a flop. Rasmus Højlund doesn't get any opportunities. Darwin Nunes misses 3 or 4 opportunities every single match. Literally, every single match he misses an opportunity. Whereas Rasmus Højlund, I honestly don't remember the last time I saw him had an opportunity in the Premier League. I honestly don't. Never. I don't think he's had any. Mila says, I can't wait to see Kobe Mainu. Yes, I agree. Chris says that'll be another huge loss to move on. Mila says Guirassy from Bundesliga, 17 million. Yeah, he looks like a really good player. Guirassy, obviously the leading goal scorer in the Bundesliga at the moment. Apparently, he's got a release clause of 17 million. I would be looking at him as well if that was an option. Everybody who's just joined, please do smash a like on the video. We've got over 200 of you watching now, which is absolutely amazing. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner, or follow the link in the chat. Chris says Antony should be on the left. He's not good enough to play inverted. Yeah. Somebody says we should start a GoFundMe page to get Antony a right foot. Yeah. Gawala says Doku's moving crazy right now. Yeah, he looks like an unbelievable player, Doku, doesn't he? He really, really does. And it's a shame that we didn't go for him and instead went for Antony. They got him for 60 million euros and we just spent 100 million euros on Antony. That just kind of sums up Manchester United's recruitment, doesn't it? We paid nearly double the price for somebody who is absolutely terrible. Let's see what else we've got. So let's talk a little bit about... I just wanted to bring this into the show and get you guys' opinions, actually. So after the game last night, all of the Manchester United players got dressed up all night and went out for a meal to celebrate the win. Now, this is already, as you can imagine, the Mail, the Sun, all of the tabloid newspapers are trying to make out that this is some terrible thing. You know, how dare the players go out and celebrate after beating Fulham? What do you guys think about this? Obviously, Marcus Rashford got absolute abuse for going out after the 3-0 loss to Man City to a nightclub. I was a bit unsure about that one. I thought it was blown out of proportion. I think, you know, it was his birthday. Go and have a bit of fun. Obviously, he doesn't drink, I don't think, anyway, and he was in training the next morning, so what's the issue? But now the Sun and the Daily Mail and all of these journalists, tabloid journalists, are trying to make a story out of the Man United players going out and celebrating. When I say celebrating, they went out for dinner. It's not like they were out till 5 in the morning, you know, getting absolutely wasted. They went out for a meal last night. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's fair to them to be criticising the players, saying, you know, you're embarrassing for going out and celebrating beating Fulham, or do you think it's good? Me, I've got no issue over whatsoever. I think, you know, trying to create a positive environment around the club at a time of such low is good. And I think if they want to go out and have a meal together in London after the game and Ten Hag doesn't have an issue with it, I have no issue. I have no problem with that whatsoever. We know that most of these players don't drink. You know, they're professional athletes. They're not going out sinking 20 pints and eating chips and curry sauce. They've probably gone out to a relatively nice restaurant and eaten healthy food and gone to bed afterwards. You know, is that really an issue for these players to go and gel together and to, you know, try and form a bit of a friendship or whatever? I think it's important. I do. And there's pictures of all of the players. There's Mason Mount. Lissandro Martinez was there. He's got his foot brace thing on. Onana. You know, all of the boys were there. Went out for a meal last night, and I've got zero issues with it. But I just wanted to see what you guys think, because literally, it's embarrassing. All of the Daily Mail, the Sun, saying, "Oh, it's a joke. Why are they going out celebrating after beating Fulham?" I mean, it's just so embarrassing. It is for all of these tabloids, newspapers to try and create these stories to try and ultimately make the Manchester United players look bad. They did it with Marcus Rashford. It turned into this massive media storm. Marcus goes out drinking after losing 3-0 to Man City, blah, blah, blah. And it's just embarrassing. And we just need to be aware of this, because there's always an agenda against Manchester United from these types of newspapers and these types of journalists. They want to try and gain clicks. They want to try and build a story out of nothing. And this is a prime opportunity of that. So yeah, but let me know what you guys think about that. Let's see what people say in the chat about it. Somebody says they've got no problem with it. Daz says going for food is not celebrating. I would agree, it's not. But some people say, oh, they're going out for food after beating Fulham. Oh, it's embarrassing. Daniel says Rashford wasn't wrong. Team wasn't wrong. They're humans and have lives outside football. I would agree with that. Mumra says, on the contrary, the dinner together may strengthen the team spirit. Yes, 100%. 100%. Paul says it's not like they're going out for a pub crawl. Goala says these newspapers doing the most when it comes to Manchester United players. Yes, they are. Daniel says that's why Fergie banned the journalists. 100%. And Food and Supplement says, I'm losing interest in Manchester United after 2.5 decades. I hear you, mate. I've got 2 or 3 friends who are in a similar situation to that. You know, they've supported Man United all their life. They go to games, they watch every single game, and they're losing interest. They don't feel that love for the club anymore. And it is sad. And I have noticed that even since doing this channel. Like, in the summer, we were getting thousands and thousands of people watching the shows live. And I've noticed that a lot of people do seem to have switched off just from football altogether and are just not interested, and have just realised that this is what Manchester United is now. You know, we're probably a 3rd place to 10th place is kind of a realistic expectation for our season each year. And the people who've lived through the glory days aren't really willing to be on that journey anymore. They wanted to see success. We're not successful anymore, and they've switched off. Now, Obviously, that's up to them. How you spend your life is completely up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life because that's not, I'm not. Why would I be able to do that for you? But I get it. I completely get it. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Lumen says, Kieran, they should have ordered food in their hotel instead. I assume you're joking. Let's see what else we got. Alan says Rashford is not a striker. Fair enough. Right, let's talk a little bit about this about this Sir Jim Ratcliffe story. And the headline is this afternoon that apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe backs Eric Ten Hag to be successful at Manchester United, and there is no there is no thought of sacking the manager from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He wants to keep him, he wants to back him, and he wants to bring him through. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's the correct decision. It says Ratcliffe feels that Ten Hag can turn the team's fortunes around if he is given time and the support of a more efficient recruitment operation. And I 100% echo that. I do. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is right there. I think to judge Eric Ten Hag based on 20 players being injured, based on having no director of football, no team around him to help him with the footballing decisions, I think is an absolute disgrace, and it's not something that I will do. If we were being run like Man City and we lost 5 games in a row, 10 games in a row, you would maybe then start to question things. But for Eric Ten Hag to be questioned when he doesn't even have his starting defence, when he's got, his second, his third choice signings. Yes, he made a mistake with Antony. Yes, he maybe made a mistake with Mason Mount, but Martinez has been a success. I would say Casemiro was a success last season. Højlund will be a success. Malacia was a cheap signing and it's just a backup, so I don't really have any comment on him. And I think Onana will be a success as well. So and Eriksen for free is a success. When you actually look through those players, right? The only ones that are questionable are maybe Antony and Mason Mount. The rest of them, I would say, have been a success. So for Eric Ten Hag to be the one making these decisions, which he shouldn't ever be doing anyway, and to be getting 6 or 7 out of the 10 players he's signed correct and 2 wrong, I have no issue with that. That's how it works sometimes. You can't get everything right. Let's see what else people are saying. Somebody says, do you give player ratings upon the start of every game or after you've seen how they actually perform? Why do you want us to smash a like on your videos upon the start of them? The reason why I ask you is because it helps the channel, I'm not pushy about you doing super chats. I'm not pushy about you paying money to me. But liking the channel, liking the video costs nothing. It's free. It costs you nothing. It costs you probably half a second of your time. It helps support the channel and it helps to bring more people into the show. If you're not willing to do that, then that's completely fine. That's up to you. I'm not forcing you to do it. But if you are willing to do it, then obviously that's great. If you're not, then that's fine. That's up to you. Jin says, I don't care what we get for him. We just need to get Antony gone. Exactly the type of player we do not need. I would probably agree with that, to be honest. Daniel says, if Bruno Fernandes gets injured, we will need Mason Mount. Yeah, that's a fair point. Mida says we were already much better with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Just wait until we have Martinez and Shaw and Varane and we can start playing out from the back properly. Exactly. Jin says a -4 goal difference though. The fact we cannot score goals is going to be our downfall. Literally the worst attack in the league. Yeah, our attack has been terrible this season, let's be honest. It's not been good at all. Needs to improve. But we have had quite a lot of goals disallowed, which I know isn't an excuse really, but there's quite a few goals that have been questionable. The goal against Arsenal, that was no different to the goal Newcastle scored yesterday. The goal yesterday that was disallowed, I think that was a joke. I saw a stat earlier that apparently we've been the most hard done by out of any club in VAR. We're the highest amount of decisions that have been turned against us. So I just think ever since that Wolves game, the first game of the season, where the VAR blatantly got it wrong and it should have been a penalty for Wolves, the VAR have been out to get us. They have. We're the biggest club in the world. We're the most talked about club in the world. And they want to make sure that every decision they get is somehow right in the letter of the law. Like yesterday, what was it? It was a subjective decision or something. It was the first time ever in the Premier League that there was a subjective decision gone against a team, whatever that even means. Luma says, Kieran, was bringing Varane in added time not fair on him, or was that Eric Ten Hag's tactics? I would say that was completely fine. You've got a couple of minutes left of the game. You want to strengthen your defence. I've got no issue with Varane coming on for the last few minutes of the match. I think it was a good decision. Alan says, I don't think Ten Hag made a mistake for Antony. He had no issue. He wanted Greenwood. That's the problem. He had no issue. He wanted Greenwood. That's the problem. Not sure what you mean there, but fair enough. Let's have a look. Somebody says Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the one to buy Manchester United now, or what? Yeah, it looks like he will take over. Yeah, it looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe has won the club. We're obviously waiting for it to be announced, but we are expecting Sir Jim Ratcliffe to be announced as the new Manchester United owner this month. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined me There won't be any show tomorrow morning, just to give you a heads up. I have somewhere to be tomorrow. I've got to get a train at like 8 in the morning, but I will be back live at 6 o'clock for your evening show. Do make sure to smash a like before you go and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a nice Sunday evening. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a little bit later. Boom.